Hello, friends. My name is Olivia, and I am one of the therapists here at Sunshine City Counseling, and I seem to be the main one who you hear from. So, one of these days, I might not just tell you who I am, but I'm still Olivia, and it's still great to be with you guys. But today's question, I am 20, and my mother is 40. She's been trying for a baby with my stepdad for several years, and it makes her depressed. I just found out I was pregnant, but I don't know how to tell her. I'm afraid to make her even more depressed. What should I do? I like this question because I think it's applicable to not just this specific person and her mom, but to a lot of us who find ourselves pregnant in the midst of maybe a community or family member or friends who are struggling with infertility, right? It's like, why does it seem to be so hard for some individuals to get pregnant while it seems so easy for others? And I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But what I think is helpful when you are the person who got pregnant, or it's easier, or has been an easier journey than maybe for others, is just in the simple fact of recognizing that nothing is promised to us. We're not owed comfort. We're not owed an easy time at anything, right? I think maybe culturally or even societally, it's like, oh yeah, it's easy to get pregnant. And perhaps in the last, I don't know, couple decades, more of a light has been shown on and talked about of like, it's not as easy as everyone seems to think. It's natural. It's a natural thing that happens for women's bodies for some, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. And so just in the simple fact of you recognizing that your body has an easier time at supporting life than maybe someone else's should be a gift. It is. Because again, there's no reason why you have an easier time and your friend or your mom doesn't. I don't know. And so that's the first thing, right? Is we want to be cognizant of the privileges and the gifts in which that we have been given. And then next, it's how do we steward that? And like her question is, I don't want to make my mom more depressed, or I don't want to make my friend more depressed if I tell her that I'm pregnant. And the tricky part is it can take away, it can feel like it takes away from your joy if you are the person who is pregnant. And that's not good either, right? We don't want that to be the case. But I think when we can be thoughtful about how do I tell my friend, how do I tell my mom or my family member, or whoever it might be, that I'm pregnant, so that way we can have a conversation about it and not just blast it all over social media, seemingly with no regard, right? You have no power to make someone else depressed, right? You can be a jerk, or as I often say with my clients, I'm like, you are responsible for being kind and not being an asshole. And so there's that. So own that, you know. But I think when we can be thoughtful, and the fact that we're already thinking about it in this way says a lot about how you're starting to process it. And so to come at it from an angle of comfort and kindness and saying, hey, I know that pregnancy stuff is really tricky and it's tough and you've had a hard time with it. And I wanted you to hear it from me before it gets blown up on social media or in the family or whatever, that so-and-so and I are pregnant. Because I want to have a conversation about it, because I understand that it could be really hard for you. And I want you to know that I want to be a support and I'm here for you. That's a good conversation to have. That's a hard conversation to have. But it is a loving, kind, and generous question to put forth to someone who you know and who you love is having a hard time and desperately wants perhaps to be pregnant. And it's going to be their journey on how they process that, what they do with that information, And all you can do is offer it and say, hey, it's a safe space. I want to have a conversation about it. And so being thoughtful, being aware of the gifts in which you have been given, how those things get, kind of translated out. And then how do you have those hard conversations with an intentionality and a kindness being at the center and the heart of them. So I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any questions that you would like a therapist, or I guess me, because I tend to be the only one doing these, that you would like me to answer, send us an email at info@sunshinecitycounseling.com, and we'll get on it. And until next time, we'll see you. Bye.